So I work in customer support, and I have run this accessibility training with 2 different teams. It's been quite well received, and I think helpful in getting people thinking about accessibility and getting in a good habit of that kind of good practice. As a start, I will say I'm not an accessibility expert, but I have learned a ton of tips, largely from this community. This is one of the resources I use. If you haven't seen it, Alexandra White's Accessibility Style Guide on GitHub. It's really, really useful. I have it linked here, and I actually have a link to this page, which should be public. So if you want to check it out, take a look at some of the links I've shared, you can. So as a how-to, if you want to run an accessibility exercise for your team, the first would be to read up on good practice. That's a good resource to start. And then what I've done is I've created a practical exercise that's relevant to my team. So as I said, I'm in customer support. So what I've done is I've created sort of fake emails from customers and then responses. And in the responses, there are various ways that they could be more accessible. So I give this to my team and say, take a look at this on your own and figure out ways you could improve this from an accessibility and inclusivity perspective. I don't ask people to like hand it in to me as if they're taking a test or anything, because I don't want people to feel like they're being judged or have to get the right answer. It's just an exercise for them to go through on their own and see what they can find. And then after some time has passed and everybody's had a chance to complete the exercise, I tried to get together with the team at an in-sync meeting, if possible, and just talk about what we found. And so I have like an answer key as well. As you can see, like I've highlighted, okay, it could be better here, and here's how. So there's typical accessibility mistakes people make, like using red and green to distinguish something, which is not going to be accessible to someone who might have color blindness, using a screenshot without any explanatory text, so that if someone's using a screen reader or the image isn't loading for some reason, that's not going to be helpful to them. So basic tips like that, things like using fewer words instead of more words is usually better, speaking in plain English, removing jargon, all those kinds of tips. So I've sort of put those examples of bad practice in the exercise, and then people can kind of go through and see how many they can find. What I tend to do is not to say there's 18 different ways this could be better, because it's not an exact science, and I don't want someone to have found 17 ways and then spend a lot of time trying to find that 18th way. They may also pick up on things that I hadn't thought of. So I usually say there's 15 to 20 examples that I've put in this exercise, so to kind of give them a range of what they're looking for, but not an exact number, because it's just not that kind of thing. And I usually try to say you should spend about an hour on this. Not more than that, find the ones you can, and then there's always a chance to go over them together. And each time I've done this, my team members have found things that I hadn't thought of and found improvements, and then I've added those to the exercise in order to do it better next time. So if you wanted to do this with your team, it can be adapted to documents, it can be adapted to help centers, internal documents. This is an example of customer emails, because that's what I do, but it can be adapted to lots of different environments, I think. So that's all. I just wanted to share that with you, because it's been a fun exercise for the people that I've done it with, and hopefully helped us all be a little bit more accessible and inclusive in our writing.